Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have Neal here, and thank you very much for being here at timforce.com. If you don't know Neal, many of you probably do know Neal from his 10 years of running his own food business. He's also now at SBTDC. I know it's the SBTDC in North Carolina. If you don't know, that's a part of the Boots on the Ground for the Small Business Administration, tax funded, and helps food companies and really all companies in the region be successful and raise money. Also, I mean, they've helped raise almost, I think, $100 million for people in the last several years. So, but what I wanted to talk to you, Neal, I've known you for many years, and I wanted to, you shared a comment with a friend of ours, a mutual person that we both know, and I wanted to kind of get your feedback on that. I'm very big with my clients about growing. We want to grow, we want to be successful, but also there are issues with growing outside your market. And I always bring up cost associated with doors that are outside our market. And you have an interesting take on that. So I wanted to get your feedback on your comment about doors and what your thoughts are about growing a food brand in your market outside.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate being here, Tim. This is great. And I really admire all the work you've done for food businesses over the years. So it's been great to have you as a colleague. Yeah, my comment is, retail doors are not trophies. Retail doors are liabilities. And consumer brand companies love to, put out the trophy, celebrate the win of the big account. And don't get me wrong, it takes a lot of work to land these big accounts. It's a long sales funnel oftentimes, but the problem that is apparent, and it's apparent through experience, is that once you've not just knocked on the door's open, and now you're actually selling in a channel, is that you have to perform, and the clock is ticking, and you're getting measured the minute you hit that shelf against your competitors in that category. And if you're in a certain threshold and you do not perform, sayonara. Go try knocking on that door again. But not only that, are we even knocking on the right doors? That's a big question. It seems attractive to, as a startup founder, to sort of you get into KeHE or UNFI, and you start seeing this whole new world open to you of all these grocers, all these new accounts, and you're like, let me build within KeHE's distribution model. I know I got to have so many units moving every week out of that DC. Let me just push into these accounts so I can get that. You're not solving the right problem. The problem is the door that you've knocked on, that you've proceeded to go through, the door where your customer ends up going to shop. And that means you really have to take a deep look inside of your business and your capabilities. So Tim, that's a little a tip of the iceberg on that.
I so much agree with you. It begins with the consumer. It begins with the shopper and the consumer. The shopper is not always the consumer, but it begins with the shopper and the consumer, and understanding where those people are, and that you're doing a good job for them. Then everything backs up from there. And that's what people don't understand. Just because and this is what I share with my client, just because you're on the shelf, that's not necessarily a marketing event. Just because you're in that store, you're in a door, that's not necessarily a marketing event. Just being there is not going to have the takeaway. It's not going to jump in the basket of the consumer that doesn't know about your product, that doesn't see it, or sees it for the first time in the set. And that's part of the issue about packaging. Packaging doesn't carry the day, in a lot of the retailers, in the retail and distributors that we're talking about. There's a lot more to it than just the recipe, the package design, and being on the shelf.
Wise words. It's so critical to understand the retail partner to do some real deep research on them. If you get your hands on real data, and if you can't get your hands on the real data, I'm talking about things like Nielsen, spins, that type of data. If you can't get your hands on that, have frank conversations with other founders, maybe connect with them on LinkedIn to really learn about the account. And if you can, travel and visit the stores.
Oh yeah.
Go in and see, if you're thinking about like, I went down, I was like, HEB, Texas. It's a behemoth, does volume, massive market share. Let's go down and actually look and watch kind of through an anthropological lens. How does this landscape work down here?
Yep.
How do people shop? How do they eat? How do they buy? What price points are we looking at?
Exactly.
I was selling premium pasta sauces, $8-9 a jar.
Yep.
And there are some places where you can have 2 or 3 competitors. It might look like an opportunity, and maybe it is. Maybe it is an opportunity, but you need to answer that question.
Yep.
And you need to determine, and you also have to get insight from the liability angle. What is it going to cost to do business with this retailer? Am I going to break even within 6 months? Am I going to break even on PO2? If that's the case, that's great. But what type of spend is it going to require?
Exactly.
I sold in Harris Teeter, which is an account that absolutely loved, and it was the right count for the brand that I was had. Had a really robust premium but very large pasta sauce set. I used to walk down it, and it was like a library of sauce, right? It was like 30 feet wide and bottom to top, huge volume account. But you have to look inside of that. What problem am I solving for the retailer by putting another marinara? No, I'm not solving a problem. I got to figure out, they've got a problem, which is they needed a good assortment. They need to make sure that this product is going to solve their assortment issue and also help draw more people back into the store because they're buying great products, and they think that's a great grocer, gives me great products at great cost.
Yep.
So the research part of it, I think, gets skipped over by a lot of founders, first-time founders, second-time founders. Their second time and it's not an exit and it was all rosy. They might go in and think that they're going to have the slam dunk again. But if it's somebody who's just has some battle scars, they're probably going to lean on the research. But I think you and me as advisors of businesses and consumer products businesses, that's one of the greatest things that we can give is that patience, that research, that mindset about, let me find the right doors, because it's a liability nonetheless. Even if it's the right door, you're still going to be dealing with spend, the risk of discontinuation, competition, distribution issues, supply chain issues, marketing issues, relationships with buyers. Is it good? Is it bad? Who knows? Did it change? So Tim, this is a wonderul conversation. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Neal.
It's given something to your viewers.
I so much appreciate it. I think I know it provided a lot of value. If people want to reach out to you, Neal, how would they go about getting in touch with you if they have more questions for you? They're interested in your help with any of the Small Business Administration or any of the work that you're doing there in the Carolinas. How do they reach out to you?
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, so the SBTDC, clunky acronym, but beautiful organization. When I say we're 75 of us across the state of North Carolina. If you go to sbtdc.org, you can connect with a business counselor in North Carolina. Now, if it's CPG specific, in that case, if you connect with them and you want to talk with me, you can just mention that to whoever, at sbtdc.org responds to you. It's not going to be me on the other end of that, right? But just say, hey, can I connect up with Neal? But on the alternative, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I know you are as well. So just Neal McTighe. Anybody can DM me or connect with me, and I'm happy to help in any way I can. And for SBTDC, that's within North Carolina. There are so anybody outside, just DM me and we can chat.
Awesome.
Pro bono.
Well, thank you so much, Neal, for being here, and I really enjoyed our conversation. All the other conversation as well. So thank you very much, and I appreciate you being here on TimForce.com. If you have any questions or have an innovative product, would love to talk to you about it. Send me a note, Tim@TimForce.com, or jump on my calendar at TimForceMarkets.com. Have a great day.